The Democratic mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, just signed an executive order declaring his city, quote, an ICE-free zone. Federal immigration officers are forbidden from using any Chicago-owned or operated properties to conduct their business, or, as we saw over the weekend when Kristi Noem tried to use a city restroom, do their business. Actually, that was Broadview, a suburb of Chicago. But the message is clear. Get out of Illinois, Kristi Noem, ICE, and the Department of Homeland Security. The Department of Homeland Security now claiming since September they have rounded up 1,000 violent, undocumented immigrants with gang affiliations and criminal records. Sure they have. That's why they put little children in zip ties during the middle of the night in Chicago. ICE isn't rounding up violent criminals. They don't know how to. They're not trained. They don't know what to do with violent criminals other than crap their pants. The Chicago's Teachers Union is reportedly coordinating with immigration activists to make it much harder for ICE agents to operate in Chicago. One teacher saying it's not unusual for a school to go into lockdown when the principal fears ICE agents are approaching. ICE agents are forbidden from entering Chicago schools without a criminal judicial warrant, which they never have. And there are reports of Chicago citizens using a rapid response system of emails, text messages, and phone calls to alert their neighbors that ICE is in the vicinity. This is the Mop-Up. I'm David Feldman in New York City. Thank you for joining me. Bad Bunny booked to sing at the Super Bowl. Well, that booking has ripped the Band-Aid off and revealed the unbridled racism coursing through Donald Trump, Homeland Security, MAGA, and these mass deportations. There are a lot of things at play here, but the top of the list right now is racism. This administration isn't even trying to disguise its contempt for Hispanics. They're celebrating it. Last year, and this is unbelievable, 48% of Hispanics voted for Trump. Why? I don't know. Perhaps, like many of the Jews in 1933 Berlin who didn't seem overly concerned about Hitler, those Hispanics who voted for Trump last year probably didn't think he was talking about them. Now, I understand Hispanics are not some monolithic voting bloc. They are not all the same. But Trump has given law enforcement permission to see them as all the same. For too many Hispanics living in America right now, ICE does not care if you're in this country legally or even if you're a citizen. They don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. All they see, thanks to Trump, is a person of color with a Spanish-sounding name. The speed of contempt, fury, arrogance, and of course violence at which ICE has come for American citizens who look or sound Hispanic has surprised even me. There is this sense inside the White House, we have to do this right now before they stop us. But so far, except for some milquetoast lower court rulings, nobody is stopping ICE. Yes, judges are slowing ICE down, but nobody's stopping them. Everything Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the Democrats warned us would happen if Trump won last year, well, it turns out they weren't just trying to scare us into voting. They were absolutely right, and then some. Everything our heroes from the January 6th committee warned us about has come to fruition. It's barely been 9 months, and this is really bad. So I need to stay focused. You need to stay on point. There's a lot going on, and I want to stick with how this news is affecting the Hispanic community. I want to talk about that on today's show, and I'll get back to that in a second. But first, ABC News now reporting that Donald Trump is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act to justify sending troops into places like Chicago. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker accusing Trump of sending in Black Hawk helicopters to raid an apartment building. The governor accusing Trump of trying to manufacture a crisis on the streets of Chicago, triggering protests to create an illusion of rioting in order to justify seizing more power by invoking the Insurrection Act. Trump has ordered the Illinois National Guard into the streets of Chicago, but the governor of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago have filed lawsuits to block these orders. As of this moment, Illinois National Guard troops are expected to report for training early Tuesday morning, training to learn how to patrol the streets of Chicago perhaps later this week, depending on how the judges rule. Trump is reportedly attempting a workaround by also deploying the Texas National Guard into cities like Chicago as well as Portland. That's according to the Illinois governor, who says Trump has a plan B if a judge forbids him from using the Illinois National Guard on Chicago. You might recall that Trump on Saturday ordered 200 Oregon National Guard troops to march on the city of Portland, purportedly to protect ICE facilities from protesters who were small in number, causing zero damage. Keith Wilson is the Democratic mayor of Portland, Oregon. He warned there is no need for federal troops, insisting they're just protesting, and they're not that many protesters. Tina Kotek is the Democratic governor of Oregon. She warned deployment of troops would be an abuse of presidential power. The governor, Tina Kotek, filed a lawsuit to block the president from ordering Oregon National Guard soldiers to march on the city of Portland. On Saturday, a federal judge temporarily blocked Trump's order, saying the protests in Portland are orderly and don't come close to a rebellion. So Trump went to Plan B on Sunday, ordering the California National Guard to deploy to the streets of Portland. But that very same judge blocked that order, claiming there was no need for soldiers to be patrolling the streets of Portland. The judge also blocked Trump from deploying any soldiers from any state, including Washington, D.C., into Portland. It's important to take a step back and remember that back in 2020, study after study showed that Black Lives Matter protests were peaceful until the police showed up. And study after study shows it was the police, not the protesters, who turned violent. There's a dangerous myth right now that the sight of police or the sight of the National Guard triggers protesters into violence. But the complete opposite is true. Police, especially police, who show up to protests are the ones triggered into violence. Study after study shows this. These are called police riots. For some reason, something happens to a handful of officers when they show up to a protest. They're filled with adrenaline, fear, and they're not trained to deal with crowd control. All it takes is one cop to start cracking skulls, and it unleashes a mob mentality within the police, some of whom actually believe they're acting in self-defense. It's a miasma of confusion once it starts. Study after study shows it's the police with their mob mentality that has to be reckoned with, not the protesters. Now, I know some of you find this difficult to understand, but ask yourself why hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars had to be paid out to Black Lives Matter protesters who won police brutality lawsuits throughout our country in the aftermath of the 2020 protests. No police officers were killed by Black Lives Matter protesters in 2020. One federal officer was killed in Oakland, California. but the suspect arrested was linked to the far-right Boogaloo movement, not Black Lives Matter. Google it. I've been over this countless times on this show. We have a situation in Chicago right now where federal agents, snipers, are pointing loaded rifles at protesters. The Broadview Processing Center is an ICE facility right outside Chicago, and it's the focus of many of these protests. Homeland Security Director Kristi Noem stood on the roof of this ICE detention facility in order to have another glamour shot. She wanted to be photographed next to snipers aiming loaded rifles at American citizens protesting the treatment of the people being detained inside that detention facility. 37 people who were residents or are residents of an apartment in the South Shore of Chicago were arrested in the middle of the night with reports of barely dressed children zip-tied by ICE agents and subjected to physical abuse by them. Governor Pritzker is demanding an investigation. The governor of Illinois has also ordered an investigation into Saturday's shooting of a female motorist by U.S. Border Patrol on Chicago's southwest side. Homeland Security confirms she was shot multiple times. Kristi Noem immediately said ICE officers fired out of fear for their lives because the woman had boxed them in with her car and was brandishing a semi-automatic weapon. Well, a federal criminal complaint filed against this woman who was shot. Her name is Marimar Martinez. She's a U.S. citizen. That federal complaint did not mention that she was carrying a semi-automatic weapon, which Kristi Noem said she was. The FBI is currently detaining her. The criminal complaint against her merely describes her driving erratically toward ICE agents in what the FBI described as a quote-unquote civilian convoy. No mention of any semi-automatic weapon. Yet ICE agents reportedly shot her multiple times. She recovered from the shooting. Kristi Noem has a horrible habit of saying things that are not true, and by doing so, she damages the cases against the people she's trying to convict. Viral videos show federal agents in and around Chicago using excessive force on innocent protesters and people they're detaining. This includes body slamming, tear gas, and pepper balls. A Chicago Sun-Times reporter was tear gassed and pelted with rubber projectiles by federal agents. Stephen Held is the co-founder and reporter for Unraveled Press. He has been detained by federal agents. A reporter for Chicago's CBS affiliate was hit with a pepper ball by an ICE agent firing indiscriminately at her truck while she was covering protests outside the Broadview ICE detention facility. Broadview police say they are investigating the ICE agents to determine if any crime had been committed. The reporter later described her face feeling like it had been set on fire after the pepper ball hit her car. Over the weekend, Chicago alderperson Jesse Fuentes, a Democrat who represents Chicago's 26th ward, was detained and handcuffed by federal agents inside a local Chicago hospital. This after she demanded to see the arrest warrant issued for a patient whose leg was broken during an ICE arrest. The alderperson, Jesse Fuentes, later said ICE agents were refusing to allow the patient to speak with his lawyer. Governor Pritzker of Illinois is now urging Chicago residents to, quote, get your cell phones out and start posting footage of federal agents using excessive force. This, as the governor says, federal agents are relying on Black Hawk helicopters to conduct their immigration raids. Now, the Department of Homeland Security is saying by videotaping ICE agents, you're doxing them and endangering their lives. Unless you photograph their activity, we don't have evidence. It is not against the law to videotape police officers or ICE agents so long as you don't get in the way. This is Silverio Villegas Gonzalez. The FBI has now opened an official investigation into his fatal shooting by an ICE agent. According to reports, Villegas Gonzalez, a Mexican national, he was a construction worker living in Chicago for almost 20 years with no history of violent crime, just a few traffic violations like all of us. On September 12th, he was stopped by an ICE agent in Franklin Park, a suburb of Chicago. The official report filed by ICE claims Gonzalez resisted arrest and then tried to drive off, dragging the ICE agent along with him. The ICE agent reportedly feared for his life and claimed to have fired one shot, killing Gonzalez, dead. That's the official report, but now we're learning from the New York Times the ICE agent actually fired 2 shots. And body cam footage turned over by the local police show that ICE agent claimed he wasn't the least bit injured and told the local police, yeah, I got dragged, quote, just a little bit. NBC News Chicago reporting that ICE agent didn't have his body cam turned on. In fact, he wasn't even wearing a body cam, despite official ICE policy dictating agents wear one at all times. You see the pattern here? ICE agents are not trained to do what they're being ordered to do. And it's going to get worse because one big beautiful bill authorizes the Department of Homeland Security to hire 10,000 more of these imbeciles. So, earlier I was talking about the racism behind all of this. How many Hispanics, other than Marco Rubio, does Trump have in his cabinet? How many Hispanic lawyers has Trump appointed as judges or officials inside the Justice Department to make certain these mass deportations are free of bias as well as constitutional? How many Hispanics have high-level jobs inside ICE and Homeland Security? None. Because with Trump, it's all about fighting DEI and hiring the most qualified white, Christian, closeted, homosexual male they can find. What we are witnessing is a war not just on migrants from Central and South America. This is a war on people of color, the targeting of Spanish-speaking Americans and immigrants with Spanish last names who don't look or sound like Donald Trump. Bad Bunny is an American citizen. He is Puerto Rican. That is a United States territory. By now, you've all heard the response from Corey Lewandowski, who is unofficially the number 2 person right behind Kristi Noem over at the Department of Homeland Security. Well, rumors are that sometimes he's behind her, sometimes he's in front of her. Bad Bunny, as you know, has refused to play the mainland United States, the mainland United States, for fear his fans will be rounded up by ICE. This is now a serious problem. Bad Bunny is an American citizen. Puerto Ricans are American citizens. Bad Bunny's fans, the Puerto Rican fans living in the continental United States, are American citizens. But American citizens are being detained. A U.S. citizen, Leonardo Garcia Venegas, living in Alabama, just filed a civil lawsuit against ICE because so far this year he has been arrested twice while working as a construction worker. According to reports, when his brother was being arrested by ICE, Venegas was tackled to the ground, handcuffed, and detained for exercising his constitutional right as a U.S. citizen or even his constitutional right as an undocumented immigrant to film the arrest with his cell phone. It is perfectly legal to videotape the police and ICE agents as long as you don't get in the way. When he showed proof of citizenship, the ICE agents took him in anyway because they said they didn't believe the ID was real. He's an American citizen. So Bad Bunny, also an American citizen, is staying in Puerto Rico, which is America. Bad Bunny sings in Spanish. America has no official language. It's not against the law to speak or sing in Spanish. It's not against the law to not know how to speak English. The National Football League invited Bad Bunny to perform at this year's Super Bowl. Corey Lewandowski immediately said that because Bad Bunny, a Puerto Rican, an American, will be appearing at the Super Bowl, ICE agents will be swarming that event looking to round up people. Did I mention Trump carried 48% of the Hispanic vote last year? Lewandowski said, quote, "There is nowhere that you can provide safe haven to people who are in this country illegally," unquote. Puerto Ricans in this country illegally? Bad Bunny's fans, I don't know how many are Puerto Rican. I would assume a lot. Lewandowski then accused Bad Bunny of hating America. Bad Bunny is an American. He just doesn't want other Americans rounded up. And loving America? I think Corey Lewandowski needs to worry more about loving his own wife. The rumors are Corey Lewandowski, married, is sleeping with Kristi Noem, also married. New York Magazine calls their affair the worst-kept secret in Washington. Let's review Mr. Lewandowski's history with women. I've been over this countless times in my show. Corey Lewandowski was Donald Trump's very first campaign manager back in 2015. Before 2016, he was number one. But Trump had to let him go after Lewandowski was caught on tape physically assaulting a female reporter from Breitbart News. So, I've been over this, but the pathology bears repeating. Because how can somebody like Corey Lewandowski talk this way about fans of Bad Bunny or Bad Bunny? How could you talk this way about American citizens? Well, this is who Corey Lewandowski is. Headline from the New York Times: Corey Lewandowski, Trump campaign manager, is charged with battery. More from, where's this? ABC News. Singer Joy Villa says she wants justice to be served in sexual assault allegation against Corey Lewandowski. From Politico, Lewandowski cast out a Trump operation after allegation of unwanted sexual advances. More from Politico. Trump donor Corey Lewandowski made unwanted sexual advances. He was allegedly, reportedly drunk in Las Vegas one night, physically assaulting the wife of a wealthy Trump donor. Kristi Noem, and Corey Lewandowski are inseparable. She appeared on The Benny Show and was asked about Bad Bunny. Benny asked her about Bunny performing at the Super Bowl. Kristi Noem said the NFL sucks for hiring Bad Bunny. That's what the head of Homeland Security said. The NFL sucks. What is she, in 8th grade? I don't think she got that far. She said, they suck. This is what she said. They, the FBI, they suck and will win, and God will bless us, unquote. God will bless us for rounding up innocent American citizens? There is nothing more dangerous than an ignoramus who thinks God is on her side. I'm going to get to Hamas and Benjamin Netanyahu on tomorrow's show, so let's stick with this psycho religious zealot for this show. Noam is a monster. She said because Bad Bunny is performing at the Super Bowl, quote, ICE will be all over that place. She said, I think people should not be coming to the Super Bowl unless they're law-abiding Americans who love this country. When was it suddenly mandatory that we have to love this country? Christina, why don't you worry more about loving your husband like a good Christian puppy-killing woman is supposed to? Then she said, the NFL won't be able to sleep at night because of Bad Bunny performing at the Super Bowl. Again, nearly half of Hispanics voted for Trump last year. Gregory Bovino is the commander-at-large for the United States Border Patrol, and some of you might remember Bovino as the leader of Operation At-Large, an ICE immigration terror campaign earlier this year in Los Angeles. Bovino sounds like one of those new weight loss drugs. You look fantastic. Are you on Bovino? Bovino is now running the ICE invasion of Chicago. It's called Operation Midway Blitz. It's a disaster. This is an actual exchange between Bovino and a local reporter in Chicago last week, whose name is Chip Mitchell from WBEZ. Chip Mitchell from WBEZ asked Bovino how ICE agents are able to know who to arrest in Chicago. Chip Mitchell from WBEZ had just witnessed ICE agents chasing down someone, and he asked Bovino, how did your agents know to make the arrest? This is an exchange between Chip Mitchell from WBEZ and Gregory Bovino, who's heading the ICE operation in Chicago, okay? So he asks, he says, how do you know to arrest these people? And Bovino says, oh, there's various indicators. We call them articulable facts. And he exhibited articulable facts that made us take a look. And then we took a look and our suspicions were proven true. It does appear right now he's an illegal alien. So Chip Mitchell from WBEZ asks, well, how can you tell by appearance? Bovino says, you know, there's many different factors that go into something like that. It would be agent experience, intelligence that indicates there's illegal alienage in a particular place or location. Illegal alienage, if that's an actual word, alienage, it shouldn't be. That word, alienage, should be illegal. Bovino then goes on to say, then obviously the particular characteristics of an individual, how they look. How do they look compared to, say, you? What's your name again? Chip Mitchell says, Chip. Bovino says, Chip. Hey, Chip. You know, you or other folks, how do they appear in relation to what you or other people look like? So a lot of things, a lot of different things that go into that. And then you also got that agent experience and knowledge. These agents have no knowledge. They have no experience. This is racism. This is rounding up people. Maybe they're documented, maybe they're not. Maybe they're American citizens, maybe they're not. This is rounding up anybody who looks Hispanic. All right. This is what's going on in our country. This is what's going on right now. Unbridled racism. Unbridled racism. I'm going to end with some of my insanity. It's a collection of slop, artificial intelligence slop. This is how I cope. You should probably not watch, but this is how I cope with all this garbage. This is my artificial intelligence slop for the week.
You know why I pulled you over?
Because I'm black?
No. Because I'm racist.
Morris, bend your knees. Remember the last time. Your knees, Morris!
She was the greatest piece I ever had, and I have had them all.
And I pay women to spit all over my fat face in Spanish. Which one of you is the next Mrs. Tom Homan? Who wants to marry me? Tom Homan wants to marry another pig just like my first wife. We ordered you a plain bagel, or what I call an everything bagel. Hold the everything.
I'm going to refuse to answer on the grounds I'm a ferret-faced liar.
I'm a cornered rat, Billy boy. A cornered rat, and I'll bite your face off, Billy boy. I'm a cornered rat.
I had a horrible nightmare last night. It was horrible. I dreamt I was alive, and you were still here.
Dr. Suskin, you're going to be sued. After you remove my prostate, you still won't tell me if it was a boy or a girl. You're going to get sued, Dr. Suskin. You can't answer a simple question. Was my prostate a boy or a girl?
I want to add something new to our repertoire tonight, honey.
Nice.
It's called penetration.
I freely admit to having wooden teeth, gentlemen. But just because I have wooden teeth, it doesn't mean I'm responsible for the splinters on Benjamin's Johnson.
I can go all night, baby, so change my bedpan.
Pan.
I hope you don't mind, but I just had a wet dream, and a solid one, too. Forgive the odor. Technically speaking, is it still a shart if it's on purpose?
I'm David Feldman, reminding you to stay strong and protect the weak. This is also an audio podcast. If you would like to listen to this show commercial free, you can download it wherever you get your podcasts. My apology to my audio listeners. You well, maybe you lucked out not seeing this AI slop that I put together. If you want to take a look at this garbage, and it is garbage, it's my coping mechanism, you can go to my YouTube channel, and it's easy to find. I posted a clip of that garbage. I know people don't like it. It's how I cope. AI, using this garbage, somebody said it's actually providing a public service so people can learn to detect this slop and know when they're being lied to. It's scary stuff. So I actually think I'm using it for good. I do, but it's got to be controlled. It's not good. Thank you to Bob and Mila in the chat room. Please leave a comment if I got anything wrong. Let me know. I issue corrections on this show. Subscribe to my newsletter. Subscribe to my channel. Please like this episode so I remain in your feed. Share this. Turn on your notifications to know when I have a new episode. I think that covers everything. I had a touch of a cold. I'm feeling a little bit better. The show will resume. I think we're going to do one tomorrow because there's a lot going on, and I hope I've made sense of some of it for you. Thank you.